Good evening, everybody. I'm Jeffrey Hunt. I am the Endowed Faculty of Innovation at the College of Southern Maryland. I'm a professor in the business department, and I work with the Velocity Center here and our STEM students. So this evening, I'd like to welcome all of you here to our event. This is our next installment in the Innovation at the Velocity Center series. So tonight, we are fortunate to have James Vasquez with us. He is the director of the Southern Maryland SBDC, housed at La Plata campus. So we would like to give you the opportunity to hear from him tonight. He's going to come and talk about AI and how we can use AI in business. It should be a great presentation. If you would, please think of questions you would like to ask. He's going to come and present, and then we're going to have a time for you to ask questions that you would like to ask of him. And hopefully it'll be a great evening for everyone. So thank you all for coming.
Good evening. You guys hear me okay? All right. How's everybody here tonight? All right. Well, like Jeff said, I want to first thank you all for coming this evening. Really appreciate you being here. Thank you for those of you also joining us via Zoom. We have a great attendance at Zoom as well, so I will make it worth your while. I just want to show a sign of hands here. How many people are currently using AI in some format? Some way, shape, or form. Okay, excellent. How many people feel really good about their knowledge of AI? Okay. Any experts in the room? Oh, that's good. We have a community in the back. Well, I'm glad because I usually do that whenever I start a presentation, because if you're claiming to be an expert, you really have to understand that this is changing so rapidly that what you learned even last week is really changing as we speak. Okay, so I want everybody to really listen to this presentation. I do have a few house rules, so I want you to be present and I want you to participate. The only way that you get out of this what you put into it, okay? So I want you to really be engaged, stay focused. I want you to engage in the demonstrations. Those of you who have laptops, feel free to dive in. I actually allocate time for you to participate in creating, using these prompts. We want to make money using these prompts. How many business owners are in the room? Oh, quite a bit. Excellent. So who's making money? All right, I'm making sure go up, right? I'm going to show you ways to use AI that are going to help you see how you can make money in your business, okay? So I want you to participate. As Jeff said, ask questions. The only way you learn is by asking questions. And you've heard it before. There's no such thing as a dumb question, but that's a lie. I'm only kidding. So we want to make sure we ask questions. I want to encourage it, okay? Feel fine. And if you do have a laptop or a computer and you have either a ChatGPT account or a Gemini account, Claude, whatever AI platform you're using, and if you don't, that's okay. If you're a beginner, you could also start because this is a real open and respectful environment. And if you have no experience, I mean, some people here are beginners. Some people say they understand. At the end of the day, what I want from you is to have fun and learn, okay? So here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to go over AI only because I think it's important to have an understanding about what AI is. We're going to go into uses of AI, actual real uses and case studies I'm going to share with you. We're also going to have prompting. That's where we're going to spend the majority of our time, and we're going to dive into that really deep. And then I have demos, both at participation demos. And then also I'm going to run through a demo, which I'm really going to save time for. Jeff, you keep me on point with the time, because one of these demos will really help most of your businesses. I don't care if you're in fitness or if you have a hair salon or if you have a food place, this is going to help your business with promoting it. Okay. So this is me. Jeff mentioned I am the regional director of the Southern Maryland Small Business Development Center. How many people have ever heard of the Small Business Development Center? All right, quite a few. Excellent, excellent. So that's really good. Small Business Development Center, I'll just briefly share with you what we do is we work with people that are looking to start a business, people who have a business and want to grow their business. We work with them from literally conception all the way to starting their business and scaling their business, all at no cost. Did you guys hear that? No cost, no cost to the business owner. Okay, so the reason I phrased it that way is because we're partly subsidized by the SBA on a federal level, and then the local counties that we represent. So if you have a business here in Charles County, we're funded by Charles County for you. If you have a business in Calvert and so forth, and St. Mary's as well, and we do represent the whole southern region for all three counties. So just a little bit about me. I'm originally from New York. I know it comes out every so often. Usually when I speak, people are like, you ain't from around here, right? I've never used y'all, so they know I'm not from around here. But maybe hanging out with Tammy a little bit, I'll be throwing him out. I don't know there. Tammy's our pre-venture business consultant in the room. Say hi, Tammy. Okay. But yeah, I've been an entrepreneur for 25 years. I've had many different businesses, as you can see here. One of the things that people find very interesting about me is I actually worked with a TV shark from the hit TV show Shark Tank. Anybody ever see that show? Pretty good TV. I encourage anybody who has a business to watch that show. Not for the entertainment value, because there is a lot of that. It's more about what they talk about in terms of knowing your business, knowing your numbers, what you get it for, and so forth. So that's great to be able to have. And then I've appeared on a lot of different platforms and shows and what have you. But what we're here for today is AI. I'm certified by Google in 2 different categories, and I'm also an SBDC advisor for AI, and I'm a ChatGPT expert, and I use air quotes for expert because, again, it's always changing, and I learn so many different things all the time. So what is AI? I'd like an audience member maybe to take a guess, or somebody on Zoom. What is AI? What do people think AI is? Or shout it out. Just kind of, if you feel openly, shout out. Crickets. Artificial intelligence, good. Okay, well, that's what it stands for. Excellent. What is it in itself? What are we talking about here tonight? That is an excellent answer. I don't know if everybody at home heard that, but he is saying that it's getting tasks that are typically done by a human to use a computer to use that. And that's very, very spot on. So I'm going to share with you, some people are like, well, am I using AI already? I don't use AI. Well, you probably are, because here you probably are using it and you don't even know it. So there's what they call LLMs, which are large language learning models, and these take massive amounts of data and really learn from it to understand and create human-like language, just like you said. And then they understand and produce this language, but then there's also the predictive model. And that's like if you've ever used like Netflix and that you watch like some, they're like, oh, you might like this. That's a form of AI. And the streaming services, Amazon is excellent use of AI. You buy this and they're like, oh, most people buy this too. And they get you to spend $1 million, right? And then generative AI, and that is really where we're going to play today. Generative AI is now really creating content like images, audio, video, and even code. You could create code from a prompt, and you see the various platforms there. Now, AI in of itself is not new. It's been around. Artificial intelligence, as you had mentioned, has been around since the 50s. Back in 1951, 2 people created what they named first AI, and it was really, they started using a game, it's chess and checkers, and they used that to determine the moves. So that was when it first was created in what it's AI, but not what we have today. And what we're going to be spending a lot of time on is generative AI, and we're going to dive right in. So what is generative AI? You hit probably on the nail on the head. It's creating new content, text, images, code, based on patterns of learning from existing data. And it really focuses on using human-like responses to help businesses work smarter and faster. And that is why we are here today. So we talked about large language learning models, LLMs. I don't want to get too deep into it. I just want you to have a key takeaway that LLMs is the engine that runs all of the generative AI. So when I speak tonight, whatever platform you guys use, whether it's Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, I'm just going to say AI, okay? So I personally use a lot of chat. I also use Gemini. So real world applications and use. So how are you using AI in your business? I want you to take a moment and really think about your business. If you are exploring AI, and studies show about, according to Google, 85% of businesses are actively using AI in some capacity, okay? That's a lot of businesses, wouldn't you say? And I'm not one to question Google, but that is a lot of businesses. But here's the rub. Only, and this is according to Google, only 4% of businesses are effectively using that. Does anybody else see that massive gap? It's a huge gap. So in your business, anybody want to volunteer how they're using AI? Just shout it out. Content writing, excellent, right? Real estate, social media, okay. Content marketing, anyone else? Content. Excellent. Research competitive pieces. Email sequences, excellent, very good. Anyone else? Yes, sir. Tutor. Excellent. So he uses it more to inquire how to do something, and that's all good. These are all really relevant, and they all require prompting to do so. That's what we're going to talk about. Here is how most businesses, and again, depending on the industry, real estate might be different, marketing is different, but here's how most businesses are using AI. So a lot of it is for proposal writing and drafting. Some of those things take a lot of time, a lot of research, a lot of information is necessary. I think you mentioned social media. Social media content creation is one of the top reasons why AI is so effective to help save time. You always hear people say, I don't know what to write. I don't know what to do or what to post. Well, AI can help you do that. Customer service responses, you don't need to go at it alone anymore. You can now have your assistant AI help you with that. Lead gen ads and copy. Now, we're going to talk about the expert in the loop as a principle with that. But with some of these, you really do need to be an expert to kind of help harness the power of AI, such as with lead generation. Data analysis and insights, you can take all of your data from your business and learn what products you should be selling more, maybe which products you could carry less, maybe what you can do to shave off some costs. So all these things are data. Sales and training and operational procedures. If you're creating and building on things, you want to be able to have that so you can share with your team. Administrative workflow automation. You were mentioning automations and workflow and emails, HR and hiring support, and then marketing, emails, and newsletters. These are just kind of a world of what most people in business today are using. Now, we talked about expert in the loop. It used to be called human in the loop. And the reason why I crossed out human is because we are all experts. Real estate, you're an expert in real estate. Other businesses, marketing, you're an expert in marketing, IT. So here is the percentages, because I want you to understand, while AI can do a lot of the work, can't do it all. Okay, it only does 80% of the work. And now you might say, well, that's a lot of the work, right? And it is. Well, guess what? It's going by the 20% that you're giving it to do. So remember the statistic, because you're going to be the person that defines and refines what it is. And then the AI is going to take that content from you and it's going to bring out whatever the results you input. So prompting basics, we're going to get right into it. The core of Gen AI is effective prompting. If you do not hear a word I say tonight, if you don't even like the tie I have on, I don't care. What I want you to understand, and the biggest takeaway tonight, I want you to clearly understand that everything about AI comes back to prompting. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to say it again. It all comes back to prompting. And I want you to clearly understand it, because that is the most important thing. So a show of hands, and maybe people on Zoom too. Do you think this is a good prompt? Draw an image of a salmon swimming up a river. Who thinks that's a good prompt? Anyone think it's good? All right, in the back, somebody thinks it's good. Well, not bad. Okay. I say shaking heads, people, it's okay. Remember, there's no wrong answers. All right, well, it's gonna, I'm gonna say it depends, okay? It really depends, because here's why. We have answers on, at home there? Okay. If this is the result you wanted, salmon swimming up a river, but you didn't say you wanted prepackaged frozen salmon, you see what I'm saying? Maybe you didn't want that, maybe you wanted this. Same image in terms of what you may have wanted, but it was prompted differently. You have a question?
Speak to the challenge of AI? Because on the one hand, we would wonder that, well, if I use AI, am I, for lack of a better word, retarding myself on how to communicate with the client to actually sell my product? Because I'm too focused on, well, do I say please to AI, or do I say, AI, I command you to
This is a real insightful viewpoint. He's really asking about the AI prompting. Is it something you're commanding it to do or assisting with it and viewing it through your client's eyes? We're going to get to all of that. That's a really good insight. Hold on to that. So here, these two images were generated using Gemini, which is Google's AI platform. But you can tell very much of a different output from a very different prompt. So I just want to share that with you. Okay, so what makes a good prompt? So some of you out there that said it wasn't a good prompt. Thank you. We're gonna, audience at home, we're gonna make sure you can hear the participants in the physical audience, and I apologize for not reiterating those answers that they have. So now we have a source to do that, an audio source. So who wants to take a stab at what makes a good prompt? We have one here. I'll go to him first. There we go, walk around here. Hey, Tammy, can you help me with that? We got, okay. Thank you. All right, just a minute.
Thank you. So speaking from my limited experience, it's best to give it the most descriptive prompt to begin with, because otherwise I keep having to add to it and then it gets confused and it goes down a rabbit hole.
There you go. Very good. Very good. Give him a round of applause, taking a stab at it. Anyone else? Anyone else want to try? I mean, that was pretty much it, but we have another one here, another volunteer. Thank you.
I'd agree, and then add what role the AI is conducting. You kind of tell it who you are, what you need it to do, and why.
You guys hear that? We have some users here. This is very good. And we're going to cover all of that. So it's completely relevant, which is excellent. So I want to share with you, one of my clients created this. He called me one night and you would have thought he hit the lottery because he's like, James, longtime client of mine. His name's Carmine of La Grova Pizzeria, a restaurant from New York. Go figure, a pizzeria owner in New York, right, that I work with. He calls me and say, James, I gotta share this with you. Have you ever heard of AI? So I kind of chuckled. I thought he was pulling a joke on me. I was like, yeah, Carmine, what's up? What are you doing? I gotta send you this picture that I did using AI. He was so proud of himself. And he sent me this. So most people might think it's not bad, honestly. I mean, maybe you guys in this room think, hey, that's not bad. Now, Carmine, again, I want you to know that there are no real barriers to AI. Age isn't one of them. It's really just ability to try. Carmine's 71 years old. Carmine's been a business owner for 53 years. So when he sent this to me, I was happy, but I had to talk to him about why he needs to understand that that might not be the best image. It might not be the best thing for his business because, excuse me, if you're a pizzeria, you're going to be judged, or any restaurant, food service business, you're going to be judged on your food, and that may not be the best depiction of your food. So I told him that. So now it's your turn. You're going to be Carmine today. So if you have a ChatGPT account, a Gemini account, I want you to dive in. You could do it too. Just dive in. And I want you to create your own dish of penne alla vodka. And when you do that, then we'll talk about creating a social media post using your image and then a flyer. So use either ChatGPT or Gemini to do so. And I'll just give you a couple of minutes to do that. Okay?
put that on I did. So I have a ChatGPT account, and I have a ChatGPT account, and you could use it on my phone right now. I pay $20 a month. I told it at the beginning, I set settings. I said, do not show me emojis and do not show me images. It was like, oh, you want a clean ChatGPT? I was like, yes. Now it's just like a text editor. And my twin brother, Samson, he uses like text editors. He's a full stacks developer. If you're programming, you don't see anything but JavaScript and this, that. So understanding that ChatGPT is an LLM, treating it like an LLM language is going to, I think a lot of what people do, which you said earlier on ChatGPT, they're doom scrolling on ChatGPT because they're like, ChatGPT, do you love the color blue? ChatGPT is like, yes, the color blue makes me think of the stars in the sky.
You're my best friend here. He's 100% right. I love it. Doom scrolling with AI, and that's so true. And we're going to really go more into that about how you can actually get the results that you want and not to do a one and done prompt because a lot of people are just doing that. So we're going to give you a couple of more minutes just to finalize, and if somebody wants to share.
So I just wanted to break in for a second with something from the chat. And so someone in the chat made a good point that when talking to ChatGPT, you really want to tell it the role you want it to play, ask for the task you want it to accomplish, and then tell it how you want the output.
Excellent answer. You hear that? And we're going to go right into that because that person must be a super user also. And we're really going to show the difference between what they said. You've heard it a couple of times already about a role. We heard a couple of times like I have to ask it multiple times, multiple things. These are all different ways to prompt. And I'm going to show you the top 3 ways to prompt. And I want you to understand that there is no quote unquote wrong way to prompt. There's just a better and more effective way to get the result through prompting. Because you could put in salmon swimming upstream and get a result. But is it the result that you're looking for? And what we're talking about here tonight is how to get the result that you want and how to really use it in your business. What is it that you're having a problem in your business that you want to solve using AI? So how anybody complete the image? How did it come out? Can I see? Oh, that's very nice. Right. So we have a really nice image with a headline. It created a nice like steam from it. Anyone else? You created an image? Oh no, wait. Do you have an image? Can they share an image online, Jeff? Anybody has an image online?
Get to streams where salmon are going.
We're gonna go right into that.
Yes, the nearest stream where salmon.
We will. Right. You have one? Let me just see. We're just seeing different images. See, and I love it. You have a checkerboard tablecloth and you have water and a bread basket. Did you tell it to do that? Okay. Now, the whole point of this exercise is really just depending on what it is that you are demonstrating through your AI prompt will come out. We had done this in another seminar, and this guy had a ocean view on a balcony. And I said, you must have told it to do that. And he said, yeah, how did you know? I said, because it wouldn't do that on its own. So what we're talking about is how to get there. And now we're just going to say, so key principles to prompting. Some of you already touched on it. Clarity is key. You want to have the vague prompt is going to lead to a vague output. You don't want that. You want to have the context and you want to really iterate and refine. That is really what you want to do for the best possible outcome. So here it is. The person, I don't know, Jeff, who that was, but they mentioned you want to have a role. You want to have a task. You want to have a format, context, and constraints. These are the key factors that will help your AI prompting ability to become a pro. And you want to give it the role. So you want to define the AI. Tell it who you want it to be. So if you are a restaurateur, or if you want to be a top restaurant and you know of a certain name, you could tell it to be a person, tell it to be that role. What's the task you want? Like writing a social media post. What is it, the format that you want it in? You could tell AI to create a bulleted list, an ordered list. You could have a format in paragraph format, and then you could tell the context for what you are doing the work for. These are all things. And then maybe you have a form that requires a certain word count. You could tell it to fit that word count. Now, to answer one of the questions of the gentleman in the audience about how you get that specific, we're going to go into that more so too, but I'm going to give you a hack right now. If you use quotations in the word or the number, you will get that exact number. That's a coding thing. So you want to understand how certain things work because that'll give you. So if you want exactly 100 words, put a quote on 100 and you will get that. If the spelling of the word is unique and you want it to be spelled that way, make sure you spell it in quotations, okay? And if you have a certain way to spell it, make sure you spell it that way and then put the quotations in it. You want to be very specific, measurable, and actionable, and results oriented. Think about beginning with the end in mind. Like, how do you get to that stream? What does that stream look like? So the more that you could create that image in your mind's eye, the more that you know what output that you want in the end, the clearer you become, the more crystal that you are, you'll get there. So here's the power of a better prompt. Here's a generic prompt to the left, write a social media post for my business. I think by now you understand that that's a little too vague. Now, a refined prompt is your social media strategist. Create 5 post ideas for a dog grooming studio in Baltimore focused on first-time customers. That's better. You have a question? Comment?
Say, for instance, if there's a social media strategist that I admire, and I will ask it to write it in the form of, or with the voice of.
So she says if there's a social media person that she's aware of, a professional, she could actually state, I do that all the time. You ever hear Ryan Dice? Ryan Dice is the CEO of Digital Marketer, and Digital Marketer hosts worldwide conferences in digital marketing, and he is an expert. You could use his name, Ryan Dice. For negotiation, anybody ever hear of Chris Voss? Chris Voss used to be a former FBI hostage negotiator. So you think he might know a thing or two about negotiations? He's very good. Jeremy Miner, he's excellent at sales. So you might want to incorporate him in that role. So you want to be able to understand that so that we can have. So the names again, Jeremy Miner, M-I-N-E-R. He's really good at sales. Some people also love Grant Cardone. Cardone is really good at sales as well. Chris Voss, V-O-S-S, former FBI hostage negotiator. And then also another one of my favorites is Ryan Dice, D-E-I-S-S. Roland Frazier's another one. He's a partner of Ryan Dice. I could go on and on and on. Okay, so here, we're just talking, you mentioned about sometimes you have to do a prompt and you have to go again. So again, not that it's wrong or right, there's just more effective and highly effective. So here, excuse me, one-shot prompt is a method where you literally just tell it one thing. Write an email like this one using the same tone about our holiday sale. You could even click the plus sign to upload that as an example using that prompt. So it gives a model to the AI to follow, and then you'll get the output for that specific prompt. Chain of thought, that's when you continually add to your prompt. So you explain it step by step. You can literally ask you to not move forward until I get the answer to the next question. That's chain of thought prompting. And it forces a step-by-step reasoning so that you can move forward. That's really good for decision making and accuracy because it helps you plan it out and you can see as you go along. Role-based, that's what we were just talking about with the different examples of a social media person or these things. So we could also add that as a persona. That's some of the names I gave you, and that's going to give you a highly specialized output. So here's an example of a well-crafted prompt. It just goes into greater detail. And if you can read that, it talks about, this one does not give it a persona, but a specific person or role a senior marketing strategist specializing in a specialty of wellness and boutique fitness brands. And then the context is a yoga studio in Charlotte Hall, Maryland, offering a first free class to new clients and talking about what the studio focuses on, beginner-friendly yoga. And then it talks about the environment, warm, welcoming, non-judgmental, and where the classes take place in the evenings. And those seeking relaxation. The task is to create a social media post having this offer, and here are the requirements. So you see in the requirements how I want it formatted, a bulleted list. The caption must be under 100 words. Now, if I wanted specifically 100 words, I would have put it in quotations, and that would be great. And then just kind of giving it the tone. Now, I'm going to give you another great hack. The other hack here is highlighted. I hope you guys can see this, and especially people at Zoom, because if you add this to any of your prompts at the end, before you do anything, ask me any clarifying questions. And then you could go into specifics like I did here, needed about brand voice, target demographic, and so forth. And then confirm that you understand these instructions. Because what that does is going to cause the platform, the AI, to engage with you and to continue to dive deeper into what you are looking to get for your output. So when we talk about clarity and getting that result, have the AI help you do that. And that could be done.
Thanks. So, considering you're the professor of business, so my clarifying question would be: all of us in here are business owners, or many of us are business owners, and we're probably all older than 30. So, from the perspective of the College of Southern Maryland and the college students, do you hear them saying that they want to work on like real world projects? Because I think all of us could say the AI can't get me the hands-on talent that I need. And I think that was in your email, the hands-on. The AI can't get me that person who's going to be like, we need to fashion this. Because this AI, honestly, it's like, are we outsourcing to China, essentially, with all due respect to China? Because we're telling it to do this, and it's like that creative, that person in high school who took creative literature, and she can't find a job, or he can't find a job. It's like that liberal of arts education. Don't worry, if your parents told you don't do basket weaving, we need basket weavers now.
Well, that's a multifaceted question. I thank you for that input. And I'm sure Jeff could get some information about what the college students are, since that's more in your world in terms. But what I will say, Jeff and I had a great conversation before anybody got here, and he was explaining that he actually, in his classroom, he shares from real world experience, real world data, because that's what people want. It's relatable, it's more engaging. And then in the business world, when we work with SBDC clients, we only share what's going on right now and the how. So right now you'll see a lot of demonstrations on AI and like kind of glossing over, not even giving you prompting, not giving you a specific prompt like this. That's why I commend everybody that's here seeing this and everybody that's on Zoom, because this is actually showing you the work, because people charge a lot of money to show this and do this. Like when Carmine called me, I did it as a favor, which I'm going to show you what we worked with Carmine. So here, going into about proper prompting, you want to iterate, not a one and done. Okay, don't be lazy. Okay, we talked about doom scrolling, right? No doom scrolling here. You got to really remember, you are business owners. You have a business. I know that you're strapped. I know that you're juggling. I get it. I own a business too. But you have to understand, you got to put your time in where it's going to be most effective, and you want to be able to get it done, because that's only going to frustrate you if you put in a prompt that's comes out. I have people talk to me that they say that their AI argues with them. It shouldn't be like that. It should be a symbiotic relationship. So on the right side, you'll see a more refined prompt. And I will even share with you that these can be a little more refined. This is a better prompt than the one on the left. But even on the right, for example, we say about your social media strategist, create the 5 post ideas for a dog grooming studio in Baltimore, but I didn't state the name of the dog grooming business. So that would be something I would say there's room for improvement. And the AI actually called me out on it because on number 2, it says new to Baltimore or just professional dog grooming. Bring your dog to, and it shows parentheses studio name. So it picked up on it. So it's going to help you some cases. And the more you use it, the more it's going to prompt you. And then those are all other further deeper into it. So now here's a case study for LaGrova. So I shared with you my friend Carmine and his lovely plastic basil leaf on top of the image. And he actually created this and he actually posted it, but not, he removed it after we went through this. So what I did is like, all right, Carmine, this is what you did. Not a bad stab. It's okay. But I shared with you what I told him. I actually told him, as much as I love AI, I will tell you, your food business, you should be using photography of your real food. At the end of the day, people want to see what you're selling. I said, so that may not be the best use of AI. So then what we did is James created this prompt, and I don't know if you guys could read it. So he wanted one prompt to be able to do multiple things into different platforms, social media for Facebook, for Instagram. So he didn't want to have to create it. So he was doing like a one and done. Here's my penne alla vodka dish, and he would output it. So I created this prompt that I told him just to copy and paste, and it will walk you through step by step, like we talked about, chain prompting. And it will first say, what dish do you want me to generate a social media post for? And then will this post be used for Facebook or Instagram, which was the challenge that Carmine had. In the guts of everything, I built out the language and the sequence that it would need to do to move forward. Now, I'm not sure if it's going to show the rest of it because it keeps going. Let me see if it, does it go? No, it didn't go. Well, I don't know. I guess, Jeff, we could have these slides sent out because the prompt goes on. There's like 6 or 7 steps. Okay, it's a really long prompt, and that gets into more of the clarity of what the prompting is. Oh, okay, yeah, there you see, it can say, and then it goes on, it says, the end result, thank you, is what's going to create. So then this was the result of what it was on the left side. Now, I think you might agree that that one looks a lot better than Carmine's post. Carmine agreed, and he was over the moon. He was like, "Whoa, that's great! You know, this is awesome." And I told him, I said, "Carmine, it's all in the prompting." So we had a whole conversation, like an hour, 2 hours long conversation about what he needs to do that. So we created all these other options because he wanted social media posts. So I shared this with him. I didn't particularly like the headline being a little cartoony, but he did. But anyway, these are different examples. Not bad. That looks appetizing. I love the spaghetti meatballs one, right? Let me ask you a question. Does anybody see anything wrong with this? Oh, does anybody see anything wrong with you see something wrong?
That we have in the room, the food brands that have existed for a long time, I begin to wonder, did Lay's have image when Lay's started, and yet Lay's is here today? So if you're selling food and you're taking a picture, you don't know how to cook, in which case your food isn't being sold. And that's the problem that Carmine's having. So, you know, Deer Park is here today because
Right.
they looked in a park and saw a lot of deer, and they said Deer Park is going to be the brand of our water. Poland Spring is going to be the brand of our water. So I think we need to really look back at the tried, the true, the tested, and learn from that.
And that's a good insight because what he's talking more about is the context of it all, like what makes sense, the relevance. Jeff, we have another question over here. The relevance of the imagery. And I'd like somebody to look at these and tell me if they see anything wrong.
It was the spelling. That's what I.
Bingo.
And so in an instance like that, I'm thinking you may have to put the quotes around the words to make sure. Yeah.
Here is a unique thing, and thank you for seeing that. Does everybody see that? How grandma is spelled or misspelled? Well, here's the unique thing. If you look into the body copy, it spelled it correctly. But to your point, to get it correct, make it correct by telling it what to do. And this brings up a really important thing for you business owners out there. You can use AI. This was the updated version with the corrected spelling. It actually created a better image of the pizza. But what you have to understand, we talked about the human in the loop or the expert in the loop. And AI does what is called hallucinate. And what that means, it's going to give you things that it thinks is right. It wants to please you. So it's going to show you things just to make it show it's smart. So you want to make sure that you have to and really, really look at the output that you're generating. And it doesn't even have to just be about an image. I'm talking about text. I'm talking about anything you use. Can you imagine if you publish a house price that's without a one digit missing? All of a sudden it's a $25,000 house instead of a $250,000 house? Where you're gonna get a lot of calls, right? At the end of the day, you have to overview, you have to look that over because you're accountable. And that would hurt your business. We're talking about prompting for profits, not for losses, but that would definitely not put you in a good space. So now, if you can, I just encourage you to generate a prompt for your business. Write something short, just kind of create a social media prompt for your business. I just want you to explore how that might look so you can see and work with it, what we've talked about here so far, and see what you get, what output you get. And then I really want to walk you through things just to keep us on point with time. Just take a couple of minutes for that. But I'm obviously in a room with some good people prompting here. This is really good. Ryan Dice, digital marketer CEO. They host a annual digital marketing event I think it's in February in San Diego. They have over 12,000 people that attend that event. Yeah, it's a big event. It's worth the investment, but it is not cheap. I think tickets go for $2,500. It's a 2-day event, but it's a great event. Anybody complete? So that was more for you guys to kind of explore what we're talking about here, just so you could kind of see. And then we'll share these slides so you could go into it deeper. But we're going to move on in the sake of time. So I want to share with you this, which I think I'm going to have to walk over to the platform for. This is a demonstration I want to show you for automated sales email yoga business. So for here, what we wanted to do to go into having an email automation. So I know somebody was in the room, they said they use it for email automation. So the challenge was that the yoga studio owner had a follow-up process, but it was them making phone calls or them sending the prospect an email after they showed up for their first class. Now that is not scalable. Sometimes something else comes up. She used to forget. I used to ask her, well, what are your metrics on that? She didn't measure them. So it's not something that is easily achievable or sustainable to really grow your studio or any business. So this could be for any business. So I'm going to just open up what we did here. So for here, this was, now hopefully it's going to load. Hold on one second. Oh, it did load. Okay. So here we have the actual sequence. This is literally the sequence that we did. It goes into the step. It says when it goes here. And now I wish I could say I created this. I only prompted it to create this, but it gave all the steps. We only wanted to do for 10, subject line, and then we could do for A/B testing, the call to action, which is the CTA, and then we want to see what it does. So this is everything for this campaign, including text messaging. So that's what we had. And then this, I don't know if you can see it on screen or at home, but this was the actual email sequence. So it shows the hierarchy of the branches of what it goes. That's just to show you, this was what was built using AI. So now I would encourage you, again, this is just something so you could try it. just put in something about your business and maybe something that's you want to build in your business and see what you might be able to create using AI. Now, this doesn't have to be a follow-up sequence. It could be a welcome series. It could be any of that.
I get confused when I've heard that before, that you can automate an email sequence. So when you prompt it and it creates the flow, do you then have to manually put it into like a MailChimp, or how does that?
Great question. So to add clarity to what you're asking, many times people say, oh, create this sequence, create this automation using AI, but then how does it work with your mail software? Okay. Now the answer, there's multifaceted answers here. For example, ChatGPT will, if you have the paid version, and I'm going to talk about paid versus unpaid in a moment, it can connect to your Gmail. If you're using Gmail Workspace or a Gmail account, you can program it to go from chat, export to your Gmail, and automate the process. Now, it will take some trial and error to do that, but it is possible to export that and do that. Other alternative methods are using like a MailChimp or a high-level account, which is a marketing automation platform, which is amazing. And I use that myself also, where you can create the code and the content in chat or Gemini or whatever, and then you take that content and you build it, export it as a CSV, and then import it into your platform, and it creates it for you. So yeah, that's usually the gap, the misstep. Now, to go a little deeper, since we're talking about AI and automation, and you have brought up code. Now, I'm not a computer programmer or a coder at all, okay? But I had a client that had a challenge where, and this is a challenge that maybe some of you here are having in your small business because you don't have the ability to hire a professional coder. So my client said, I have this offer and I have it so that they log into Stripe, or they are able to charge it, goes to my Stripe account. But my CRM doesn't talk to my Stripe account. And my account for my scheduling doesn't work with my CRM. I was like, you need a new CRM. But again, cost is always a factor with small businesses. So she said, can you use AI to create something to talk to all three? And then I said, I'm going to see how this could be done. It took me 4 days and lots of chain prompting, trial and error. But what I wound up building out using ChatGPT, and the code, the prompt was long, really like probably 5 pages long. I'm not even kidding. What wound up happening, and this is where I'm going with where you connect it, is that we had to create what's called the RPA, which is a robotic process automation. Anybody in code knows what that means. I did not, but chat helped me learn what that was. So I created all the code to go in through the API of the back end of Stripe, and then of her CRM, and of her scheduling software. I had to create all these things using different third-party software, all free, because I asked chat to give me the free versions, not the paid versions, because there's a lot of paid versions. And I said, here's what I need to do, here's what it is. Very, what we're talking about here, very specific. Took me a while. But on the front end, all the client sees is I click here, I pay, and I have an account made and I can schedule. On the back end, it's a whole thing that's going on. So yeah, there are different steps involved depending on the complexity. Email's not a complex thing, but it's that gap that I was talking about where most people show you, oh, you can do this, you could do that and this. Yeah, you can do a lot of things using AI, but it comes back to beginning with the end in mind and understanding how all those pieces come together. Listen, I could build a deck. I really can. I'm not a carpenter though. So I can educate myself on how to build a deck, but that carpenter, he's the expert. He's going to build a deck better than I ever could. And I could probably get away with building one. Maybe it'll be level. Maybe it won't fall apart. I don't know if he'll pass code, but he can do all of that. So that's the mindset that you have to think is that, okay, well, this is what I want to get done. How do I do it? And the deeper you dive in. But now let's be real. You have your business to run. So it's like, where do I have the time to do that? So you really got to focus your time. Content creation, though, that could be done if you did that prompt, that could be done in minutes. And that takes a lot of time. And you could tweak it, you could refine it, and then you can outsource that if you really wanted to. So that was what we had there. Let's see what else. So, thank you. Lost my. It's not moving. Oh, wait, do I have to click on here? Okay. That's not. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now here's another example. This is a workflow. And this is something that I would think is relevant, not for, it's for any business. I use a hair salon. Now, I want to let you know that these case studies are real and that these are not, I'm not going to say the business names, okay, but the situations are what you should be taking away from here. Okay, so for this example, hair salon wanted to use data to increase its revenue and prompt for profit. So here was a breakdown for their full year. They have 4 chairs, okay? And this is an example of costs. Now, I limited it to only about, I think it was 5 categories. Now, if you're using any kind of QuickBooks software or anything like that, Wave is a great software platform for bookkeeping. It's free. You can export your data or have your accountant give you a report of your consumables, of your monthly data. Any data that you have on your business can be used in AI to share and get information and insights. So here we pulled this data. Look at that, 48% was coming from extensions and weaves, but look at that profit margin. I'm opening up a salon. So the key insight was nearly half of all supply costs and up to 70% profit. So that was the driver of this. And then what we did is we used this to create more profit. So we walked through, how do you do that? The how. What is it that we need the AI to do? We had to identify the cost categories, which you saw. Identify that, which are the most, where's the spend, where are the inefficiencies, what's the percentages, and then matching the costs with the profit margins. Make sure you get the higher profit margins. Walking through all that and where can the business earn more? So going into what the categories are, spending more money, how to use AI to generate revenue boosting offers. These are all the things you as a business owner can do. So here, they projected, AI did this, not me. It projected if you did 12 bookings at $400 a month, that's the revenue, but look at the profit. So it gives you that action plan. It shows you the steps to take, but you have to know the questions to ask, the prompts that you want to do, how you want to do it, where you want to go with that. And this is a real use to be able to create that. So I want you to understand that it doesn't just create content. It analyzes your costs, it finds profitable categories, and it builds the offers that generate you revenue with less effort. But only if you know how to properly prompt for profits.
So I was somewhere special and level 5 of a mental health hospital. And one thing that I would say, glitter. Glitter is very affordable. And as a man, if I saw a woman walking with glitter in her hair, I'd drop the mic. However, this mic is expensive.
There you go. I like it. Yeah, another question. And that's probably really profitable too.
I just have a quick prompting question. So some of the terms that we use, role, task, format, context, constraints, output requirements, are those key words that you should use in your prompts?
That's a good question. So he's asking about the role, task, constraints, context in that actual prompt. You can actually use those words and fill that in. The role is this, the context, and with those words in them in, the task is this. Like if you saw the one I did for Carmine, the task was to create a social media post, the content and the constraints. I literally used all that. I built out some other things with it. So yes, you can do that. You can, a lot of times people will talk from just saying what the role is. You are A, and that's fine. Remember, I said there's no right or wrong way. There's just more effective and highly effective ways. So yeah, you can do it. And what I encourage everybody here to do is to really operate it from your own standpoint, see what's the best output that you get, because you're going to get a certain output. And then that's what you're going to experiment with. But that's a very good question. Okay, so here's another thing I'd like to demonstrate with people, because to your point again about how do you do this? How do you export this? Now, this one is a two-step process, okay? This one, does anybody use Canva? Okay, Canva. Now, I used to be an Adobe purist. I taught Adobe, Photoshop. I did not give in to Canva until last year. And I got to be honest with you, I'm like, man, yeah, I used to be a graphic designer. So it's like, I can't use Canva because it's doing my job, right? Well, I got to tell you, Canva does a really good job. And if you're not using it, you should be, because it makes it simple. But again, just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy. Okay, so this is, anybody ever go to Tico's Tacos? No, nobody goes to Tico's Tacos? Well, it doesn't exist, so I'm glad nobody said they go to Tico's Tacos. I made that up. I used AI. Okay, so Tico's Tacos. What I'm going to show you, Tico's Tacos. I just like saying it. Okay, Tico's Tacos. Say that 5 times fast. Wanted to create a social media calendar, like many of you. Now, substitute your business for Tico's Tacos. I'm not saying to make tacos. I'm just saying, create whatever your line of business is. Think of it in your industry, your business. So here is the prompt I created, and this is the output I got for Tico's Tacos. Okay, Tico's Tacos, and I wanted to create a 1 month, and that's what I got. And there's one in White Plains. So over here, not only did chat tell me what days to post, as you can see, but it also shows the best time to post. And then it gave me the taco to feature, the caption, the image style, and the hashtags to use. This was all here in chat. Now, I don't know if I can log into my Canva from here. I should have had this already set up for you. Let me see if I can do that. Just give me 1 minute. We're doing this live. I hope it works. Log in. So what I'm going to share with you is how you can use what's called bulk create. So I don't know if anybody knows what bulk create is, but we're going to show you what we can do with Tico's Tacos and then what we're going to create. So here we have my model of Tico's Tacos. Yes, I love saying it. And we'll go to Tico's Tacos. You're first going to need to create in Canva a template. So I used one that was right out of the gate from Canva. This one actually came out and it had a different name, but I used Tico's Tacos. I put the date and I put the taco name. And here's where I wanted my body copy to go for a static post on Facebook. It's 1080 by 1080p, which works also on Instagram. There's no clickable links, so this would just be more of an image post that you would use. So for here, then you would have, going to your ChatGPT, you would go all the way down and export this table as a CSV file. When you have your CSV file, you go over to bulk create, which is over here, and then it has the information that you want to be able to put in. Now, I already, like I said, I did this already. It outlines the date, the taco name, and the copy. So from that table that I created in ChatGPT, it does an export for a CSV file. I import it into here, into my template, and then what it will do, it will give me all the different tacos for Taco Tuesday for the first month. Now, you would do that for each page, and then to answer the lady's question, you would then have, well, my account for Canva connects to Facebook and Instagram, and I would upload it using that. Now, I know that was a lot to take in, but don't worry because I actually include that, how to do that in this presentation. So here's the actual steps that you would take to be able to do that exact demonstration. How many people can benefit from doing something like that in their business? There you go. Yeah, the mic, that's Jeff.
So with the Canva bulk create, is it possible to have more than one template in the bulk create?
Yes.
Okay,
So you
'cause that-
can- Wow, people. Listen, I show that to people that lost their hood. So yes, the question was, can you do it? You could do it for each day that you're posting. So here's my Monday, Wednesday, Friday post, and then you could create different content. You could export that same exact CSV file into Canva, bulk create, export for the entire month, upload it to Facebook or Instagram. You're done for the month with a different template. Yes, you could do unique templates for everything. We have another question here.
Quick question. I wanted to know if LinkedIn could be connected to chat. So if we use a certain template in LinkedIn, because I set this up before, but I had literally was taking the text from chat and going and put it in LinkedIn. So is that possible if I can set that up on LinkedIn?
With chat, there is no direct connection with LinkedIn. You would have to use a third-party software. So you could create the content, not copy and paste it, export it, and then you would use, but it's a third-party software because it's not integrated with LinkedIn.
What's that third party? Like I just
Like you would search for something that's a third-party software that would post to LinkedIn. So you would just copy and paste the CSV file, like I showed you to export from chat to Canva. It would be another, like Canva would be a third-party software for graphics creation. So you would need a third-party software for posting into LinkedIn.
So are there limitations to what the third party software could do? Like if I wanted to go into like a government site and look for solicitations.
So it depends. Like ChatGPT, you could do all that with deep research and different areas. And actually, that ties in really nicely into one thing I want to make an announcement about. Thank you for your question. Everybody starts out on the free version of Chat, the free version of Gemini. I get it. I did that too. But I want you to be completely clear that that is open source, meaning that information that you put into that AI is being learned on and shared with the world. They're selling your data. Okay, so anything you put in there is free for everybody. So free is a great way to start, but I would encourage you to start going onto a paid platform because the encryption's better. It keeps your data more secure. We are actually in SBDC using AI. We're using ChatGPT, but even then, we do not put financial information specific to any particular business. We don't put the specific business, no social security numbers, no credit card banking information. We're not at that encryption. The only way that you can have that is if you have a proprietary software of a ChatGPT enterprise, which is $200 a month. And then even companies spend even more than that monthly, like at McKinsey Advisors, they have their own proprietary software that's based on ChatGPT, but it's completely protected. So privacy is really important. So this is the prompt for the Canva. And we just transcended right into the responsible use. I have to share with you responsible use of AI because right now we are at a stage where you almost can't tell it's AI. I mean, you could tell from Carmine's image, but you can't tell from some of these other image creations that are being done. Anybody hear of Sora? Sora 2 was just released. Man, that is scary. It's like you will not be able to discern a real video anymore. So transparency matters. Remember, this is your business. So you want to make sure that you aren't giving anything but the real deal to your clients because your clients deserve that honesty. And even if you did create something using AI, if you want to disclose it, that shows a lot of transparency to your clients. And we have some people that actually say some of this content may have been created by AI or assisted. AI assisted is a good term. Ethical marketing, never. And this just goes for good business practice. You never want to over exaggerate anything. You don't want to have false claims. Remember, it's your business, so you have to make sure that you're the one that's really managing that. Data privacy and compliance, we just talked about that, so I don't have to go into that, but that's very important. Respect intellectual property. So you want to make sure that anything that you're using, even as a reference, you want to make sure that you're using it responsibly. And then you want to make sure AI should support your expertise, not replace it. When I do these seminars on campus to students and faculty, that's like the number one concern they always bring up. Okay, because a lot of it's plagiarism that was perceived to be. So you want to use your expertise. Remember, we started this seminar talking about you are the expert. You're the expert in the loop. So do not forget that. So you can use it to save time, boost creativity, improve clarity, and really support your decision making. But at the end, it's your expertise, God bless you, your judgment, and your values guide every decision. So AI can make an average business run smoothly, but what it can really do is this can take an excellent business and you make it better. So the key is to use it to enhance services, save time, and not to replace authenticity. So here, 3 key takeaways, but remember, the one thing that I want you guys to remember if you don't remember anything is, right, the prompting is the number one thing. All right, we'll say it at once, that's good. So the right prompts turn your business data into profits, and whatever you give it, you can talk about different constraints, different areas, but that's going to help turn them into profits. Smart prompts will help you create high value and high value offers. Ethical prompting builds trust, long-term loyalty with your clients, and we all know it's a lot easier to keep a client than to get client acquisition costs. So final insight, your prompts determine your profits. I hope you saw that demonstrated in this presentation. You can start out here, and now with what we've talked about, you can elevate yourselves to grow and grow big. That's what I want for you. So here's some next steps for you guys. I want you to succeed. I want you to continue. I want you to look and explore to deepen your understanding of AI and prompting. So you want to make sure you understand how to use it. So really explore chain prompting, one-shot prompting, examples. You want to do that. You want to see how you can use AI for research. I know somebody over here said they use it for research to ask about information and such. So that's important. And then the ethical use we talked about, and then using it to really explore options. If you have an idea, but you don't really know where to go with it, you want to create a new sale for your business. Like, what is it? What's the offer I should do? I know everybody's doing Black Friday sales. What can I offer? Or maybe it could be something different. You can use AI to do that. Okay. And then, of course, the visual prompting. You can actually create information and take it into chat and export it into charts and graphics. It does a really good job with that. The other thing is explore different platforms. Try Gemini, try Chat, try Claude. There's a ton of them. Perplexity, I could go on and on and on. Suno is good for audio and music. You have Sonos. We have a lot of different platforms out there. So here's just some tools. When we were talking about third-party software, Zapier connects softwares that don't usually talk with one another. It would take some knowledge of how to do that, but their site is pretty easy to use. So that connects 2 platforms that don't typically talk to one another without the need of being a coding expert. Of course, we have Chat, Google Gemini, Canva we show, Zapier. High Level is a marketing automation platform. It's really good with integrating for business and CRM. Gamma. Anybody hear of Gamma? Gamma.app? You heard of Gamma? I created this in Gamma. Did you? You saw the Gamma. I love it. Gamma is an AI platform that creates presentations in minutes. Although this one I customized and I did it, but there was one I had to do for SBDC actually. And they said, oh, you're doing a 10-minute presentation. They told me the day of, and it was like a couple of hours. I said, I don't have anything prepared. I went to Gamma and it wrote it for me. I still went back, expert in the loop, reviewed it and made sure it said the right thing, had the right tone, had the right information, the colors, but I used Gamma and I love Gamma. So this is me. Thank you so much for your time today. If you are not an SBDC client and you would like to learn more and how you can have no cost consulting, we do one-on-one consultations for your business, help you build your business, scale your business, work with you. You can scan there and a member of my team will be able to work with you. But this is my information. Let's connect on LinkedIn. I'm active on LinkedIn. So a lot of times if you want somebody in my network or you want to talk or chat, that would be great. Otherwise, I appreciate your time. And then if we have any questions, we have different languages here for questions. I use chat for that. Do we have any further questions? I mean, the group was really engaged. I think a lot of questions were asked. I don't know if we have any on Zoom. I know they were asking questions too during out the day. We're good? We have one more?
I think what you highlight is what ChatGPT can be good for and what it's not so great for. And the idea that maybe young students, wherever they are, putting, you said it took 5 pages. Should they have to spend 5 pages trying to figure out ChatGPT, or just talk to their neighbor and say, hey, what do you think about this, little rhyme I wrote, lean on the lighter side? Do you think that would catch the audience's attention? And they might say, hey, try it. If lean on the lighter side gets you selling product, it's great. So I thank you for your time.
You're welcome. You're welcome. We have a question about poster on my wall versus Canva. I personally have not used that platform. I would encourage anybody here ever use that, poster on my wall? Tammy's used it? Canva's better. We have our insight from our pre-venture business consultant here today. She's used it, but Canva is better. I have to be honest with you, I can't imagine something being better than Canva. In the ease of use, with the number of templates that it has, with the options it has, even on the free version, although the paid version is a lot better, but I will say it's amazing. And I was paying so much more for Adobe's Creative Suite, but I feel bad saying that. I used to love Adobe. And I think that's it. Oh, we have another question. Yes, sir. I'll send them to Jeff, and then Jeff will make sure that everybody who was attending in person and on Zoom gets the slides. And then also what I'll do, Jeff, I'll send a list. I have a list of different AIs and different tools and things that you might want to explore and maybe look into if you want to take a look at that too. A lot of things I do this every day, all day. I mean, every time I have a new AI, I try it out. I use AI for everything. I mean, we talked about business. I mean, I will take a picture of my shopping cart and ask AI, what am I missing from my usual shop? I build my shopping list in that. I put it in my closet, what clothes should I wear today that I didn't wear? I am a freak with AI. So you literally could do everything and everything. And that brings me to a point. Somebody, actually a coworker, said to me that you use it so much that you're not thinking. And I said, I gotta say, that landed on me for a moment. And then I said, is she right? And then I said, no, she's not, because I prompted it more, because now it's like I keep asking it. It gets me to actually prompt better, and I'm learning what they need to know, and the output gets even that much better. So the more you use it, you're going to see how you think differently in business, in life, with your friends, and you're going to be sharper. And I always say the smarter people, and no offense to anybody, because everybody in this room is very smart, but I actually talked at our convocation at CSM with somebody who was a computer programmer from Dell. And man, that dude was talking about programming and prompting, blew my mind. But even he said, the more you get involved in it and the smarter you are, the better your output will be. But you could keep achieving that by iterating. So again, I just encourage you to explore, to try it for your business. If you're not using it in your business, pick one area. Maybe it's email, maybe it's social media, one area, and focus on that area for a week, 2 weeks, and just see what happens. If there's any tasks that you are doing in your business that you do repetitively more than 5 times in a week, use AI for it. You will save so much time. I was at a presentation yesterday from Google, and the Google representative said that Google studies have shown that 13 hours can be saved using AI just by doing repetitive tasks using AI. Do you have a question?
I was going to ask him about training and being proficient in ChatGPT. What training program would you be interested in?
That's a great question. So the question is, how do you get proficient at ChatGPT? What training programs? Right now, ChatGPT does not have any certifications for ChatGPT. However, I tell you to go to openai.com. That's the parent software of ChatGPT. They actually have completely free, FREE, academy, OpenAI Academy. They have, I think last I checked, it was over 200 videos, webinar videos, free, on demand, that you could just log in, and they publish live ones every day. And it will walk you through. So you talk about prompting, they have prompting. They go, and I encourage you to look at that, and then also look at other ones and in Gemini, like they're on YouTube. So you want to see that, and these will help you only become that much better at it. But that's a great question. I go there all the time because I want to make sure what I'm sharing with you is what they're learning. And sometimes they have more refined approaches of how they speak and what they have. I just like to tell you, this is what you do, here's how it is, because I'm doing it. So it's something that way. But that's a great resource. It's free, and I encourage you to take a look at it.
Just to add to the free resources, if you have a public library card, you can get access to LinkedIn Learning for free. And there's
That's a good
tons of
resource too, yeah.
classes on anything and everything, including AI and ChatGPT. So that's another great free resource with your free
Very good.
public library card.
And then I have to plug SBDC because we do have no-cost training that we publish on a monthly basis. So, scan the QR code, talk to Tammy, and then we can get you on our newsletter and have all this information about things for your business, but also different trainings. A lot of them are on Zoom, so you could also do that too. All right. We have another question? All right. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate your time.